your business is in 9 figures now?
Yeah.
This is an incredibly humble man at 28 years old. What are the core principles that shape your success?
One is you got to get humbled in business. Turning point was disciplines within doubling down on what you were good at and staying in your. So that's when we started to have a breakthrough.
What are you seeing is your generation's biggest holdback of success?
Entitlement.
What's your approach to building high-value connections?
Give more than you take.
Bam. I speak from experience, and I tell you guys one more. You give first. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone who's just starting?
A lot of us are pre-molded by our family, our school system, our circumstances, and we think that's just how life is, when in reality, you're one apartment lease away or one conference away, understanding there's a whole new world out there. Change the circumstances in your environment and take risks early on. Isolate something you're passionate about and figure out how to get involved with it.
Start working on your mind
Yeah.
as soon as you can.
Consistency and discipline trumps all. Dig deep. You have greatness within you. Go take the risk. Take the leap. Take the jump. Worst case scenario, you start over.
You're a beautiful human being. I'm Kelly Siegel, and this is Harder Than Life, a podcast about self-love, self-awareness, business, and health. We tell outrageous stories and boil everything down to simple, practical advice you can start using today. Let's get living. Welcome back to the Harder Than Life podcast. Today's guest, Devin Johnson, is a visionary entrepreneur who turned early hardships into fuel for success. Starting with sneaker flipping, at 16, he self-educated in digital marketing and co-founded Kennected, a SaaS company that now serves thousands worldwide. Devin is on the brink of launching his latest innovation, Sales AI, and continues to emphasize impact, mindset coaching, and personal growth. Rooted in spirituality, he believes in building meaningful relationships, fostering leadership, and making a lasting difference. What a surprise to have you in studio. Yeah. After much chagrin, here you are. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, no problem, man. It was, we decided to go to AC/DC in Detroit. I was like, my boy Kelly's in Detroit. We had a Zoom podcast booked. So I was like, let's just do this thing in person.
I don't know if I had a nickel for every time I say everything happens the way it's supposed to happen and everything happens for you. So I'm loving it. I wish you would have called me a little earlier so I could have joined you guys. But we're going to talk a lot about Sales AI. I know in the intro I said that it's the latest. I know it's launched. Yeah. I know it's out there. AI, man. Give us the definition. All you hear right now is AI, 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 AI. What is your definition of AI and why is it so crazy right now?
Yeah, AI to me is the ultimate extension of a human, right? AI definitely requires a human touch and a very smart person behind it, but can achieve 10 times, 20 times more with AI on your side. And so, we're in this crazy era where everything is AI and you're adapting or you're dying, yada, yada, yada. But, I talk a lot about like hype versus reality right now. AI is not going to save your business. AI isn't going to replace vision. AI doesn't create culture in your businesses for your employees. AI is not going to replace every single person inside the company. Like AI is awesome and amazing and the ultimate extension of a very intelligent human, but it does not fix everything.
I wrote it down here. We're going to get into Sales AI because what specifically you're doing is fantastic. You gave the pitch at our IT company beforehand. We're definitely going to be partnering. I called it automated information. It's not artificial intelligence. That's where I think we go wrong in this world. There's nothing artificial about it. It's searching for what you either program it or what information already exists.
Yes. So the reason it's called artificial is because it's the first layer of technology that programmers can't say 1 + 1 = 2. So it's a black box in the development world of how certain outcomes happen. So therefore, that's the root of why it's called artificial intelligence. It's because the actual sequence of actions can't be tracked by code.
This is so wild, man. We're writing so many things in our IT business and cybersecurity business to make things exciting. You were listening to it. What amazes me about you is you're a young man, 28 years old, and you started even younger, as I talked about in the intro, at 16. So what was the defining moment that made you realize you were built for business?
Yeah, there's a couple, but one that really sticks out going into freshman year of high school. Freshman year of high school. My sister got diagnosed with brain cancer, and really, like, my mom and dad were never married. It's already kind of a divided household. But when that major moment happened, I see my dad actually run from problems versus stand up and face them. And we didn't see him for a year after a few weeks after my sister's diagnosis. And my sister was hospitalized for almost 2.5 years. She had a medulloblastoma, which is cancer and affects your adrenaline gland in your brain. So required immediate brain surgery. She had to live in Riley Children's Hospital. It was a massive change in how we knew our childhood and how everything happened. And so my mom obviously supported my sister, lived with her at the hospital, and would attend to my sporting events or whatever she could juggle to make sure she was still, great mom. But, my dad's out of the picture for a year. So my mom has no income because she's essentially taking care of my sister. And so the defining moment was lose everything and move to inner city schools and be a part of it's called the Ronald McDonald Home. It's basically in suite apartments at the Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, or figure out how to make some money and help mom in the short term. And so started by flipping sneakers. I had a good school, good friends, good ecosystem, and, didn't think I was quite built for inner city schools either. So I was in the suburbs of Indianapolis. And so my dad always bought me shoes for every birthday, every holiday. I started by just selling what I had. I got $2,000. A Craigslist ad actually is how I sold my shoes. So if you guys remember Craigslist, it's a sketchy place now. But so Craigslist. And then I just started buying shoes from Craigslist. Eventually Facebook Marketplace came out, which changed the game. But, Craigslist is where I started my hustle. Got a scooter and started flipping sneakers. So that's kind of the defining moment.
So you were making money and you were giving it to mom?
Not all of it. She had some savings and was helping, but I was helping with what was short and, helping out. She wasn't completely dependent on me, but it was just a tough time.
When did dad come back?
So he came back about a year after admitting he was struggling with an opioid addiction and so on and so forth. He actually overdosed when he was 21 on heroin. So, that actually that killed him when I was 21. But that's, I was like 16, 17, kind of when that was happening, and it was really ramping up. So he was fighting addiction and running from problems and just kind of chaotic,
So it's 7 years ago, and you say OD. Was it a fentanyl OD addiction? Did he?
We don't know exactly, but the autopsy said it was probably a speedball, which is an upper and a downer mixed.
Yeah, my father passed away from the same thing, and I went down the same path. The more I get to know you, the more remarkable of a human. Everybody likes the underdog. You truly are. It's hard to see you now and know that you used to be an underdog. Yeah. Because I tell you what, in any kind of business fight, I'm grabbing you. Let's go, baby. Cody, you, and let's go.
Yeah.
But I want to dig a little. Your sister's fine now?
Yeah. So just kind of finished the childhood section. Sister beat the cancer.
Damn.
She's doing great now. Walking again. They said she would never walk, take care of herself. She's got side effects, but does really well for herself. My mom actually works for the family. She's our nanny, so I see her every day. So good relationship there. The outcome of my father, but we're a small, mighty family, and now I've got 2 kids of my own and married, and so we're continuing to grow the Johnson lineage.
So Devin, let's go back to that time. I mean, that is, man, the audience is feeling that right now because I've been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
At that one pivotal moment that you could go one way or the other, and you chose, I'm going to lead into this. What was your exact perspective with dealing with your sister, though? That's the one I want to understand. Like, because at that moment you could have faced everything, or you could have folded everything and dropped.
Yeah. So good podcasting, right? Harder than life, right? That was a really harder than life moment. And what honestly drove it was fear of leaving what I knew, leaving my friends, leaving, what I knew was normal. And so ultimately, when you boil it down, it was fear, which I believe, fear has two meanings, face everything and rise, or, F everything and run. And so I didn't know that. I didn't have this wisdom that I carry about myself now. Obviously, I was just young and scared and knew that shoes had value. Like, I was completely ignorant in the business world. And so, and you look at like what family I came from. My mom worked factory jobs and kept food on the table, kept us in a good school district. And my dad sold dope, So like, I didn't really have this like built-in business acumen, or I just knew we could make money. I knew you could make money. That's the root of it, right? And so the fear kicked in, and ultimately started to figure out a way.
Bro, everything works if you work it. And you just nailed what Harder Than Life meant.
Yeah.
It's fear. And I was just on the phone with my old therapist. I hadn't seen him in years. And I said, I'm stuck on something. And he literally brought up again that I like to have control, and I fear not having control. So he had to walk through, like, what does it mean not having control? So that's how I came up with Harder Than Life. The new book's coming out. It's going to be Happier Than Life. But it's like, it literally is fear and leaning into that fear.
Yeah. The buffalo runs through the storm and a cow runs away, right? So I've got the buffalo mentality when it comes to all aspects of my life. And there's some element of that probably comes from my dad. My dad had a very looked down upon, what he did for work, quote unquote, but he did hustle and he created a life for himself. So I do believe between my mom's discipline of doing the right things plus my dad's hustle kind of created that mix of where we're at now.
So the sales, your business is in 9 figures now?
Yeah.
So this is an incredibly humble man at 28 years old. You talk a lot about mindset. What are the core principles that shaped your success?
Yeah, there's a lot, honestly, that goes into that. One is you got to get humbled in business. And so, one of my favorite books is Ego is the Enemy. I'm sure you're aware of that book. It really is the enemy. You need ego in certain situations to back up your confidence and to back up, discipline and decision making. But carrying that with you to be oblivious to change or to learn, I was using it in all aspects. I wasn't wanting to hear from people because there's no justification behind this. But, here's the situation I was 16, 17. Always had tens of thousands of dollars I was walking around with. I had a Jaguar, a little Camaro. I just thought I was just like I was just so full of myself, man. What humbled me was when businesses have phases, right? And the sneaker market really dried up, right? Little app born out of Detroit, Michigan called StockX really rocked the world, right?
Did you stop over and see it last night?
I seen it, yeah. It reminded me how much they really changed the game. But, that was my first big adversity. And I had roughly 100 grand saved. And I just thought I was like rich, man. Like I just thought I was balling. And I was gone in 7 months after the shoe stuff kind of dried up. And there was points where I was hotel hopping. My wife, now we're high school sweethearts. She was working 2 jobs, giving me her entire paycheck, try to figure out business. Like, had a couple contractor employees here and there, we would have some nights we'd sleep in a car. Like it was crazy. So things that shape you, right? Adversity and removing ego is a huge step in the right direction.
So ego, I've heard the acronym edging God out. You religious? You're religious?
Yeah.
So that's just something I always remember. And I'm growing more and more and more, especially with Steven, our producer. It's just, there's something out here protecting me and always looking out for me because things just keep happening, like having you here in person. I'm loving it. I appreciate it. When you really got rid of your ego, how did you transition from the lone wolf to the legacy-driven leader to take that huge step? Because that's kind of where I'm at right now. You've done it at 28. I'm at 50, and I'm just now doing it.
Well, so when I removed ego, that allowed, and again, you have spurts of ego. Like, it's not like I have zero ego at all. Okay, like I just got to go on the record. I'm not like this perfect angel that never flares up. But when you drop that guard, and you can listen to other people, it allows you to gain other insights and realize you are not the man. You are in control of very little, and you need an army to build what you really want to build. So, my best friend and business partner, Cody, right? He's not here on the show with us, but I was the first person. I'll paint a picture real quick. A mutual friend was like, hey, you got to meet this guy named Cody. And I'm like, I'm like this little egotistical guy, like, Well, we go to McAllister's. Love that spot, by the way. And we're chowing down. Within 5 minutes, this guy just stops. First time meeting him, he's like, what's your relationship with God? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're talking about how successful you've been. And, I'm just talking about myself basically for the first 5 minutes. So he just cuts me off. Long story short, within 2 weeks, I'm baptized and going to his Bible study and understanding that, like, I had so many broken areas. It'd be a whole podcast if we just sat and talked about what was broken at that time. And so when that breakthrough happened and faith became the center, and that took time, like it didn't just happen in 2 weeks, but like the start of it took place, I started to realize I'm really good at a handful of things, but I need real people in my corner that we can build together. And so Cody was my first business partner, and we built and failed in a couple businesses. Door coupons, digital marketing, events advertising business, country music representation business.
Sounds like Cody.
Too many stupid little businesses, but we were failing together, and we were learning his skill set and my skill set, which was extremely valuable. We're both broke at this point. We're not like broke, but we're pretty broke. And like we can pay to eat. That's about it. We're living for the next deal. And so the turning point was disciplines within doubling down on what you were good at and staying in your lane. So that's when we started to have a breakthrough. We realized he was the relationship guy. Like, you met Cody before you met me. Right? That's typically how this works. So this is
you guys had to plan.
This is a real world situation. So he will be the relationship guy, get invited to the parties, do the events, et cetera, et cetera. Then he'll introduce me. I'll come in and we'll figure out how we can make money together. So my blessings, vision, and building culture and team. His is relationships and the ability to bring that next level into the ecosystem when we're ready. And so it's like yin and yang, right? He serves it up, I knock it down. And so when we really doubled down on the disciplines of what we were good at, I built product, he built relationships. I sold product, he maintained the relationship. So it went hand in hand. And we had a couple, our first successful company was Kennected. We did have a couple other co-founders that we knew we sucked at operations. So we had Brandon. We knew we sucked at digital marketing. So we had Elliot and Steven that were a part of it as well. Like, it wasn't just me and Cody. But we let people stay in their lanes and understand that we didn't know everything and doubled down on our daily disciplines. That was the breakthrough.
That is so good. Follow one course until success. And we're going to keep going because I want to get into Kennected and eventually sales AI and then into your philanthropy. But I want to talk about Cody for a second. And I've never told the audience how important your best friend is to me. This gentleman, Cody Harvey, he's become very close to me. And obviously he's your best friend. He reached out to me from a direct message on Instagram. And he's like, bro, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, I get 150 of these a day. And for some reason, probably God, said, talk to this guy. And for another reason, he's talking and he's like, hey, let's jump on a call. And I'm like, yeah, right. Everybody wants to jump on a call. So I just, some voice in me said, do it. I get on a call with this guy. He's talking, I'm going to help you. I'm like, what's in it for you? He's like, nothing. I like your message. I believe in you and I want to help. And I'm like, yeah, right. While we're on the phone call, he's messaging people that we all know. They've been podcast guests. They've been friends and he's messaging them, putting me on them, and they're immediately responding. That's the kind of relationship he has. So guys, I would say be open to receive as well as stay in your lane. There are a lot of people in this world that want to help you. You just left my office, my national technology manager, and you sat down, you flew in on your plane, went to your concert. Now you're here all day to help me. For nothing for you.
Yeah.
Just to help me, to help us make the world a better place. So Cody, and then those of you who don't know, Cody also introduced me to some people that I went to an event to where I met my girlfriend now, who's been with me for a year and a half. So Cody is like the modern day Kevin Bacon. Everybody knows him. So Cody, we love you. Thank you. And just keep going. You guys founded Kennected.
Yeah.
What was Kennected, and how did you, because I'm trying to get us to where we are today, where sales AI, it's like, wow.
Yeah. So when we doubled down on our disciplines, I knew that small businesses sucked at lead generation, hence us, right? It was our biggest pain point. Couldn't get the right conversations with the right people, right? Sound familiar?
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone's head nodding on the podcast right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yep, I understand. And if you don't have $3,000 to $5,000 a month, like paid ads, it really is not going to move the needle, right? Most businesses can't afford that, especially the small businesses. So we came up with a solution to streamline doing outreach on LinkedIn. And so I used it to begin with. It was a really crappy product, but it worked. We call that, now that I know how to actually build software, that's the MVP, right? Minimal viable product. So I had the MVP. I took 50 meetings in person in Indianapolis from outreach that would send me down to do coffee or lunch with local business leaders. And at the time, I was just pitching SEO, digital marketing services.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Yeah, like everyone else, right? And one guy goes, hey, how'd you get this meeting going? I was like, oh, I just used this little extension I built called Kennected. He's like, can I buy it? I was like, yeah, we figure that out. And so first sale, $1,000, ready to go. And about a week later, he's like, dude, I've had 4 meetings. Like that's not normal for me. All off of this product that you hatched together into my
So just so the audience knows, this is the modern day sales navigator in LinkedIn now, right? With a little bit of a nuance of how to reach out to people. So the co-pilot that bolted on to...
Yeah, so this would actually execute sending messages to your target audience and assist with follow-up.
And since then, LinkedIn's nixed this, right?
They didn't nix it. They have opinions about it. And so in 2023, we had a opportunity to exit the business on an asset sale for all the customers. So we just let it go and moved on. That's a whole nother story between LinkedIn and the status quo is like under 7 minutes. We like to be under 5 minutes. With our platform, it's within 60 seconds of the lead being submitted. That'll trigger a phone call, qualify the lead, and get it to the calendar.
So what gap in the marketplace are we solving? Are we solving human error, human laziness, or what are you solving?
Yeah, so the way I break that down, outside world interested in business, the way you contact business to do business probably will never change in the general sense of you have to talk to each other. But what we're solving for is that in-between layer of going to your CRM and getting that lead interested and actually qualified. So right now, it's either a human does it or you're relying on emails that aren't conversational, can respond back and forth, or text messages that you can't respond back and forth within these automation systems. So we're replacing speed to lead inefficiencies, and that has led into customer success and several other verticals. But it really started with speed to lead.
So the part that you're changing is literally just it's just going to help convert. It's going to increase sales. That's why it's sales AI.
Well, Yeah, most businesses that use our product see anywhere from a 40 to 60% increase in MQL to opportunity.
Now let's go to this. This is what immediately I hear, and we use a lot of this voice AI in our national technology management. People don't want to talk to a computer. What's your answer to that? They don't want to talk to that robot voice, even if we can make it sound charming. How do you combat that?
Well, so would you rather have a human that might have your answer or a guaranteed answer? And so one of the things we also do is, we have features like voice customization, matching voices, like put your voice in the product. Yeah.
Wow.
And we've gotten our latency down to normal human latency. So there's no delay.
So you might not even know. You could just, do you go mount the thing and you don't, like, if it put my voice, you would say, this is Kelly AI. We don't lie about it.
We promote to disclose that you're using an AI agent assistant. It's like a loaded gun, you could save the day or you could be a bad guy. So, we're not monitoring every single word that's coming out of customers' AI agents. So very well, some customers could be just posing it as human.
You know what converted me finally? I mean, 100% conversion. I have adopted it. My daughter wanted Taco Bell, and we walked through the Taco Bell, and it was complete AI order. And you should see she's ordering, and I interrupt her, and I start messing with the AI because I want to see what it would do. I was fascinated. I started talking really, really fast. Then I deleted it, and 100% accuracy.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
So who wants to go and talk to someone who's like, I don't know, let me see. Oh, I forgot to give you your extra lettuce or cheese. It's 100% accurate, guys. Instead of sitting on I always think of Delta, and I hate to throw Delta under the bus, but I'm always flying Delta. And it's like, I don't want to talk to, I have to call and add my dog to my reservation every time. And it takes 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Every time. What if I could just call an AI agent and say, add this to my reservation? It says, Kelly, I've seen you do it all the time. I got everything done in 1 minute. Oof, man.
And that's the reality of where the world's moving and what sales AI is helping make reality. But also, I talked about hype versus reality earlier in the podcast. There's a lot of hype around it, and people think it's a fix-all, and it's not. It's just not. Yes, it will dial leads instantly, qualify leads, put them on the calendar. Yes, it'll stand up tier 1 customer support and answer your customers' questions and book the support tickets and all this amazing things. You still have to run a business. We're not to a point where you stand up one AI agent and it runs your entire business. And I quite frankly, I think we're a couple years, 2-3 years away from that even being a talking discussion.
Before we go to culture, because I love the culture of your company. I watch it. Before I met you, I'd actually called in from one of the leads and met it, almost bought it. And then it's fortuitous that you came full circle and I get to meet you. Your culture and your company is amazing. I want to talk about that. But you said something to me when we were in the meeting at NTM about the next 18 months.
Yeah.
So let's go on record. We're recording, May 1st, 2025. 18 months from now, we'll say it's the end of 2026. What has got you excited?
Every major enterprise will proclaim that they're an AI first organization.
What?
Yeah.
AI first over culture, over everything?
AI first meaning
over people?
No, AI first meaning first engagement will be AI generated.
What did I just tell you? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm recording a video after this that we're flipping over to AI. It's not your AI because we hadn't talked yet, but yours is more sales, right? Because it's sales AI. Ours is, this first one we did was customer service. It's just, we wanted the speed input. We're switching over to overflow tickets and after hour tickets to start. And then as soon as we know it can handle it, we're going to make it 100% because it's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
I will take your trouble ticket in with 100% accuracy over a person. And and it's the speed.
Yeah.
All it means is the time that we turn around your ticket and you're fixed, it reduces in half.
Yeah.
We're already fast as can be. We're averaging 2 hours and 30 minutes right now to fix all of our issues. Average.
It's insane.
It's insane in the business.
Yeah. It's extremely powerful, but you're doing it right. You're doing it in phases.
Yeah. I told you how I did
a
it
lot
so
of
uncomfortably.
the hype is AI everything. It's like, no, because first off, most businesses don't even have baseline systems in place.
I'm so glad you said that.
The AI works off of structured data, not unstructured data. And a lot of people can't even comprehend the difference between structured and unstructured. Okay. Structured is CRM has defined pipeline stages, defined tags, defined flow. That data knows where it's going. And that's where AI is effective, is it can assist by doing human actions inside of that structured data. If you just throw data at AI, it may give you cool answers or cool this, that, or third. It's hard to action on it because it's not defined by action layers.
Today I released, by the time your episode comes out a couple weeks later, but episode 150 of the Harder Than Life podcast, it talks about the processes and how you have to define your standard operating procedures. And guys, whether you know it or not, you have a process. You go watch something being done, and 99% of the time, someone's going to follow it. They just haven't documented it. So to make AI work correctly and work for you and to improve upon it, I put a podcast out there that says, record your process, document your process, implement AI, and then measure it and keep tweaking, and you will get better and better and better. And it's out of this world what you can do. Like I said, the average time for tickets in the IT business is 8 hours. We're at 2.5.
Yeah.
And our goal is to get it within 1 hour. And we're just now getting started.
Yeah.
And we did this thing. I wouldn't recommend this for businesses. We fixed all the operations and then started selling. I sold, broke everything, because I had no standard operating procedures, no processes documented. I took 4 years and did all that, and then implemented it, and then changed the culture and implemented a strong culture, which is going to be my next question. And then we're just now starting sales. And guess who shows up on my doorstep?
Yeah.
Sales AI.
It was good. I got to meet your leadership team. They seem extremely smart, and they're going down the right path. You know, you're a good client, right? For sales AI. You have structured data, you have a backbone in the business, you have inbound lead generation. Like, we can help you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I can't help an entrepreneur that works off of a spreadsheet, doesn't know where his leads come from, and is just winging it. I can help entrepreneurs that have a system, technology, and then people working in the business. So think about that as a pyramid.
Now, I will tell you, that's my specialty. If you are working on a spreadsheet or you don't have these divine, first of all, I'm going to come in and I'm going to optimize your mental fitness and your physical mastery. And then we're going to start. Once we optimize you as a human, as a leader, then I'm going to help you with your business. And then we can call in partners and friends like Devin and Cody, and it's amazing what this good old boy network can do, especially when you got a bunch of really smart people who refuse to give up.
Yeah.
Talk about your culture. I guess, what do they say? Some of these books, it's the culture. I was talking to somebody at your office before I knew you, and I was looking over and I was seeing you playing Nerf basketball, and I go, is that Cody? And they're like, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did you at such a young age realize culture was so important?
Well, I've been in business for myself basically my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said I started with the principle of, if I wouldn't want to work there, why would someone else?
Mm.
And so that was like the foundation of starting culture. And then you start defining your why, you start defining your mission statement, start defining core values that isn't just easy to come off the tongue or too complicated to even remember. You really just try to dumb down like your personality into the culture. And so, our core values is a big pillar in our business to define culture, and it's own it, opportunity, world class, no BS, impact, and together. So we really simplify the core values of the business.
I love that.
It's the stress test of, is it the right person in the right seat? And do they align with core values? And so a lot of people say we have core values, but then it's just a poster.
Ugh.
But if you live those core values and you lead from the front, you create that opportunity and you're world class and you're no BS and you're making impact and you do it together, people feel that.
I like the together one. So I get a lot of grief from outside consultants and certain people that have interviewed at NTM, and I have family. Family is a part of my culture. And then when people meet me and they see me, they go, "Oh no, you can keep family up there," because a lot of people put it up there and it is just a plaque. Oh, we treat everybody like family, but I do. I mean, you saw me walk in the other room, take a quick upsell call, which I just looked at the guy and I said, "I treat your company like it's mine." I said, "I need an extra 10%." He's like, "Done." It's just why it's called Trust NTM. Trust me, and I'm going to do its best. And we also put honesty, integrity as one of our core values, and I fought that one. Because I don't think you have to tell people you're honest and you mean what you say you're going to do. But the person that asked me to put that on there was internal and said, no, it's a reminder for us. It's a reminder that we look up there and we remember we're always going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Always. And then we're going to always do the right thing for not only our customers, but for each other and ourselves.
Yeah.
I teach in my coaching program entrepreneurs to choose themselves. We're such... you talk about Cody, you talk about your family, you talk about your girls. You haven't said one word about you. Mm-hmm. We have to, as men, you put your mask on before you have anybody, because if you pass out on the plane, you can't help anybody else. Yeah. What do you do for you? Go to AC/DC?
Yeah, that's a small part. I've got a very disciplined kind of day-to-day. I like structure. So big thing for me is starting off journaling, faith time, gym 7 days a week. I know some people say that's too much working out. I have to.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have to move my body, man. And, and then outside of just like day-to-day regimen of faith, journaling, gym, really big into cars. So wife says it's a collection. I don't know if it's a collection, but I go in and out of a lot of cars and like to be a part of the car scene. I grew up racing, had a couple of years being able to race dirt bikes professionally. Fun fact. And so just love speed and anything that kind of gets the adrenaline going.
Is your end goal to be a billionaire?
I'm well on the path. It's not necessarily a figure. It's really the impact that can lead to. I'm proudly, largest donor within my church organization, and there's 5,000 people in the church, so it's not like it's a small church. And I really like being able to give that level of impact back into community. I like to be able to help people that was in my position, and be a North Star for them to understand that they can do it. And byproduct is you do have to make a lot of money to continue to do that. Really hard to help others when you're poor. I mean, it's just kind of a fact. Starts with creating real value and taking that value and spreading it.
I wouldn't bet against you, man. I can tell you that much. I didn't have any questions in here, and I got more. I want to talk about more friendships. I was going to go into the philanthropy, but you touched on it. As such a young man, I appreciate your perspective. What are you seeing is your generation's biggest holdback of success?
Ooh, entitlement. They don't know the first thing about consistency or discipline. We're talking about my age group, like 28 and under, right?
I'd say I'd go up to 35 and under right now.
Yeah. It's lack of consistency, discipline, but that's a deeper issue of understanding who that person actually is. So I believe it's a self-identification problem. So they have no drive to be disciplined or consistent. They just think that the world owes them something. And
where did it come from? Is it social media? Is it the internet? Where did that come from? Because I'm the next generation, and we were taught, but even then, my generation's got hooked on crutches and substances and avoiding, and it's like that doesn't work either.
Yeah. Social media does have a big part of it. One of the things I did early on that helped me a lot was I basically, I had social media, but I unfollowed a bunch of people to protect my mind and remove comparison. So a lot of people my age look at someone successful, and this is a materialistic object concept, but a lot of times kids my age, when I'm driving a Ferrari, will be like, oh, that's pretty cool that your dad left you the business, or they'll just make remarks like that. And I don't even fight it. I'm like, yeah,
None of my business what people think about me, and I find you remarkably that you understand that already.
And I am like, yeah, man, it's a blessing, why fight it? They're already in a mindset of victim mentality, or this isn't obtainable. So, and I think my age group lacks consistency, discipline, and understanding themselves.
Not everybody, but it's, I'm seeing it a lot, and it's frustrating. I mean, my daughter's 16 and she's
75-80%.
Oh God,
that's my perspective.
It just makes it so much easier to win in this world, and I don't want it. I together we rise. Yeah. We're gonna more and more. Now that after this podcast, we're gonna do so much business together. It's not even funny. I'm gonna tap into that brilliant mind. We're getting close, but I got a bunch more questions because I want to talk about people, and I want to talk about relationships, and I want to talk about who's helped you along the way. A little bit about money. So, you've spoken about the power of relationships in business. What's your approach to building high value connections?
Give more than you take.
Bam.
If we're just keeping it into a concise format, not going through a formula, don't think about your pocket or your transaction you can do with that person, but sit down, get to know them, give the value, give the connection, see what you can make happen from just that brief conversation before you even step into the world of just transacting. So it's a mindset of how can I help this person versus how can I get dollars from this person.
I speak from experience, and I tell you guys one more. You give first.
Yeah.
You Cody. I mean, Cody was on the call. He didn't know if I was a clown or not. Little did I know he was watching everything I was doing.
Yeah.
And he knew everything I was up to, and he had studied me before he reached out because he wanted to make sure I was authentic. And that's what I'm proud of myself, that what you see is what you get. You've talked to me, you see me. I'm not secretly sneaking freaking alcohol or booze or beating my freaking girlfriend, or I just nose down and almost forget sometimes to have fun. It's like, I love that you jumped on your plane and shot to see AC/DC. I just wish you would have called me because I would have joined you. But give first, give more than you receive, and it will come back in abundance. God works in that way, people. Yeah. I'm telling you. So if you lost everything today, what's the first move you'd make to rebuild?
First move I would do is identify a gap that I know I personally struggle with and productize that some way, shape, or form. If I was completely broke, I would sell my mind, my intellectual property of, at one point being successful, but then broke again. One thing you don't lose is your knowledge. So I'd productize my knowledge into some sort of consulting offer and build myself back up to 40, 50, 60,000 a month, and then build technology around it.
Your drive. That's what I would say. You can't, you've seen in the pros, all sports, people have average talent that have a motor like no tomorrow, just absolutely make it. Dennis Rodman, I think. That's probably before your time. You guys work showing up consistently every single day. So you've worked with some major players in the business. Who has influenced you the most and why?
Well, if we're starting with like people closest to me, wife and Cody, like just to not leave them off the record, but like in the business world, I would say it's probably a combination of Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, Harmosi's moved up there quite a bit. And then early on, I listened to a lot of Grant Cardone.
You guys don't remember, he's not, some of these guys he does know personally, but some of these guys are all available free online.
Yeah.
I listened to Ed's podcast for years before I met him. Andy, I had to turn, it's like when we talk to him, I'm going to laugh. He's probably never get sick of hearing that he was right. I had to stop listening to him because he was so spot on. It would irritate me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God. So you listen to his earlier predictions of what was going to happen, nails it.
Yeah.
So anyways, you can listen to these guys for free. YouTube, this stuff is free. There's no excuse. So you can't afford it, they're free.
Yeah, they're free.
My Thursday podcasts are free business coaching and free mindset coaching. I love doing them because it's paying it forward.
Yeah.
And you're passionate about the leadership and coaching. So what's one piece of advice you'd give someone who's just starting besides I asked you what you would do, but what piece of advice would you, let's talk about these 35 and unders. What's the one piece of advice you get somebody just starting out?
Business or just life, or, I see it in two verticals.
You got to remember with me, I talk about both because I believe they're one.
They are one. If you're just getting started, whether you're wanting to run a business or to work for someone else, which is totally fine. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that I think my age group is like, I got to be the boss. No, you don't. Right?
No, you don't want it. Trust me.
You don't want it. Trust me. You don't want these problems.
Because you
highs,
never
low
go
lows,
off, and you're never off.
The peaks and valleys are vicious. But anyhow, isolate what you truly are passionate about and try to get in wherever you can get in, so you can see different rooms, different views. If that requires you moving cities, like, you have to change your environment and what you're consuming and see the other side, right? Well, a lot of us are pre-molded by our family, our school system, our circumstances, and we think that's just how life is, when in reality, you're one apartment lease away, or one network meeting away, or one conference away from understanding there's a whole new world out there. And so change the circumstances in your environment and take risks early on, and isolate something you're passionate about and figure out how to get involved with it.
You keep saying that. Isolate what you're passionate about. And then not only passionate, but also the opposite is finding the gap of what you're not good at and finding someone that can fill that gap. That's what I talked about in the podcast 150. The only advice that I would say that I would add to that, and I agree with everything you said, is start working on your mind as soon as you can. And then, of course, I'm a workout guy. Your mind and your body are one and the same.
That's what I mean by changing your environment.
I want to be very specific, though, because if I could go back, I have one regret, and they always say, I have no regrets. I wish I would have started working on my mental game a lot sooner. I grew up extremely oppressed, and not even oppressed, just physically and emotionally abused, and let's just call it what it is. And we all our parents did things to us. We were all in that boat. But somebody called me that's a massive influencer. He goes, I just read your book. And he said, I had a tough childhood. Mine was a level 3. He goes, yours was a level 12. And I was like, well, thanks for acknowledging that. But I've healed it and moved on. So what I would say is I drank the poison and expected my parents to die. And what I mean by that is I drank alcohol and ran from things where I could have been doing so much better. If I would have just felt my feelings, healed them, I would have peeled off light years. So that was my one regret, is just looking inside. Because here's the funny thing about it. Everything we require, we have right here.
Yeah.
And you realize we're all energy, and God created you and and believes in you and is actually testing you and giving you everything, not testing you, giving you all of the things that you need to grow to the person that you need to be what you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not against you.
No.
You're against you. Go look in the mirror and declare war on the person you see, and start right here and watch things just shoot up. You could have very easily sat back and said, woe is me, my sister's sick, my dad left, and go run amok with some bad kids, which I did. And then I eventually came around. But don't do that. Don't drink the poison, expect the other people to die. You're not the victim. You're the victor, and you own your own destiny. So you say over and over, I've heard you say it a couple times, it's not about the money. It's about the impact. How do you measure success beyond revenue?
The very small things that really get me going and measure success is watching employees buy their first house, buy that new car, comfortably be making these decisions, building up a savings, growing families, having kids, like being able to see that you are creating a foundation for people's lives and dreams to come true is one I see every day. But also being able to put my kids in positions that I would have never have dreamed of being able to be in, and not bubble wrapping them, but letting them understand that life doesn't have to be this super hard, challenging road. And then from a faith perspective, just being so invested with the church, being able to see, the impact that's happening. We helped open another campus, got another 800 people coming to get to know the Lord. Those are kind of the three areas I kind of measure the success in. One of the things, if we're just speaking honestly on the podcast, a lot of people always ask me, like, Devin, are you happy? You don't show a lot of emotion. You don't smile a lot. I'm like, no, I'm completely happy, right? All my highs and lows emotionally are just like gone. I think my childhood like sucked them out, So you basically get me as this 24/7.
You're like my baby brother, man. I can tell you right now, you're happy. I can feel it.
Yeah.
You're at peace.
Yeah.
And
peace is a good word.
I would have said, because I ask those questions. Sometimes I just come up with them and I just ask them. And I ask them and then I start answering them in my head. And I'm like, oh, that's such a good question. How would I answer that? And how I answered it was, I'd look in the mirror and I love the person I see. I don't need to improve them. And I have a peaceful heart.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, I used to buy things to try to impress people or fit in. Now I could care less.
Oh, I told you last time we talked, I'm scaling everything down. I just sold my TRX. I'm selling the Florida house. I'm going to sell one of the Harleys. It's just like, I don't need any of this stuff.
I'm passionate about cars. Like, I truly love cars.
Yeah, I got to come check it out.
Love cars. So yes, some people could say, well, you have Ferraris because that's a success icon. It's like, no, I go drive them and I love them and it makes my day. But like, I wear a black t-shirt and pretty much the same pants every day and, all birds and on clouds. And, like, I'm not trying to razzle and dazzle you with some persona of massive success.
No, 28-year-old humble multi-millionaire. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful to call you friend, and I'm grateful that you're here to help us take that next leap. I appreciate you coming here. If the listeners were to take away one thing from this podcast, what do you want that one thing to be?
Consistency and discipline trumps all.
And any final thoughts?
Dig deep. You have greatness within you. You just got to apply the recipe of staying consistent and being disciplined to what's down inside of your heart. You're meant for more. Go take the risk, take the leap, take the jump, and at worst case scenario, you start over.
You're a beautiful human being. I'm grateful that you're here, and I love you, and thank you for coming in. Thank you for flying here, taking your daughter's giving you the time out of the day. And till next time, be harder than life, guys. Please rate and share this podcast. I'm active on all social platforms and love to hear from my Seagull supporters. Each and every episode is sponsored by my company, National Technology Management, the easiest and best IT company to do business with, delivering peace of mind with technology every day, even simplifying cybersecurity. Visit trustntm.com for more info. Until next week, be harder than life.